So this is the location I've chosen for the solar heater here. It's pretty much the best location and the only location I can do it in my property. So basically the sun's going to come up there in the morning and it's going to go all the way around here where it sets down there. It's almost midday now, so as you can see it's about midway. And before the water goes into the solar heater, it's actually going to go through the compost heap, which I've going to have to make a nice mix in that to get that nice and hot. And I have to run it through that first because the compost heap's probably not going to get as hot as the solar heater. So if I run it through the solar heater first, then into the compost heap chances are is going to cool the water more than what it already was. So I'll make sure I run it through the compost heap first, and then I'll come over into the solar heater where it would have had a bit of a boost, and then that should boost it even more. And then after that, it's going to pump it all the way back down here. It's quite a long distance. Through the pipe down there, through the ground. I'll try and keep it as straight as I can. And then there's a duct that comes across down there and basically heads over to the greenhouse over there. So I found this good website here, sundirection.com. This is my property here. This is the time. This is the time here. This is where the sun comes up in the morning. This is where it sets. And as you can see, it's pretty much the perfect location for it to get maximum sun. Morning half of the day I'll have it facing this direction, and later half of the day I'll have it facing this direction. So yeah, just a quick update here on what I've done. First of all, a little mistake that I made, that being originally I had the two inlet hoses facing up. The problem with that is, now that I think about it, is the path of least resistance is going to be straight up and straight out of the outlets. So even though it's going to fill all the fins, most of the water, I feel like the main current is just going to be down these two outside fins. So what I've done is I've just swapped this around so that now one of the inlet pipes comes this way, and that should sort of even it out a little bit and obviously flow a bit more evenly up the centre fins. Yeah, so I've made the enclosure for the solar heater. The way it closes is basically I'll just clamp that down a bit to squash the EPDM seal down, and obviously screw a screw in on each corner, and that'll hold that nice and tight and keep it nice and airtight. Underneath that I've got a bit of twin wall polycarbonate. I've got the clearest polycarbonate I could find, because I want to let the most amount of light I can and heat I can through it. It's got a little bit of R value, I think it's 0.3, so that'll hold the heat in a little bit. Don't make the mistake somebody else on YouTube has made and get dark polycarbonate, or he actually painted it a darker colour, because that's actually going to stop the light and the heat going through, and the heat's going to be absorbed on the cover instead of going in. You want as clear as you can. I've siliconed the ends just because I don't want moisture in there or dust in there or algae growing in there or anything like that. As for the actual enclosure itself, basically it's a bit of H3 treated timber around the outside. It's water treated, moisture treated. Basic metal frame which I've welded together. After that, it's insulated with the stuff, polystyrene. And then on the inside, I've got cement fibre board there just for heat, because obviously the metal's going to get quite hot. It's going to get quite hot in here, and I wouldn't be able to put that on the polystyrene, so that's why I've stuck that in. Yeah, so on top of that, this is the reason I've got this other enclosure in here, is because obviously the fins are going to be hot all the time, because the water's going to be going through the compost heater before it gets into this. So because I'm monitoring the temperature and turning this off and on based on temperature, not light, if I was to have a temperature monitoring probe in here, pretty much it's going to stay on pretty much most of the time, because the compost water is going to be heating the fins up. It's going to be warm in here all the time, unless not at night, of course, because it'll be controlled by daylight cell and it'll turn off at night time. So, but obviously on cloudy days I can't have it on when it's cloudy, so that's why I've got this enclosure up here. So the probe in here will be what actually measures the amount of heat the sun's putting out into here. It's all insulated from this, so hopefully the heat from in here doesn't affect that as much. A little bit of a mess down here now, thanks to my mistake before, but yeah, hopefully it's all right. I might alter that a little bit. I might have to put a tap on here just to reduce the pressure on, put a bit more pressure on this pipe here, because once again I'm thinking that's going to be the easiest path of least resistance, whereas it's going to be a bit harder for the water to go through that. So we'll see how I go on that one. It's probably going to even itself out a wee bit. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.